Shalom. In this video, I'm going to show you evidence that China may have interfered with our election. And then it makes sense that it would go in Joe's favor because they also invested in several of Hunter Biden's business projects, especially after Joe had visited China. And then, it's too coincidental. Right, and if you look at my video that I did back a while back about, the whole China and Joe Biden, I have a video already, so you can go look at that. At the end of the video, there'll be a link to it. So, and I'll probably put a link down in the description as well. First, we're going to start off with the video. It's from NTD News, and it's 400 million SEC filing links Dominion, USB, and China, right? And this is the video from the news article. I figured just showing this would save us a lot of time, so this doesn't become a long video, because I have to read the next two articles. But the third article will be about how China had agents here. So let's go ahead and play this first video.
Attorney Linwood claimed on December 1st that Communist China purchased Dominion Voting for $400 million. He published a link to a U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission filing showing Dominion Voting Systems' parent company receiving $400 million from a Swiss bank subsidiary. The transaction itself does not directly show what the attorney alleges it to be. However, it does show ties between the voting software company and the Chinese regime. The transaction happened less than a month before the election. According to a press release, the party that received the money, Staple Street Capital, acquired Dominion Voting System in 2018. The acquirer calls itself a New York-based middle-market private equity firm. The party that paid the money is UBS Securities LLC, a subsidiary of Swiss investment bank UBS. But UBS is not necessarily the eventual buyer in the transaction. As an investment firm, it could have just served as a middleman, selling partnership interests of Staple Street Capital to UBS clients or holding it on behalf of clients through its prime broker. So how is this related to the Chinese Communist Party? In another Twitter post, Linwood claims the Chinese regime to be the major shareholder of the middleman UBS Securities. Through state entities, China does own much stock of UBS's Beijing-based joint venture. But the joint venture's name is UBS Securities Co. Limited, whereas the entity sending money to Dominion is UBS Securities LLC, which is based in New York. The New York subsidiary is a private firm, so its shareholders' information is not open to the public. However, a closer look into the New York subsidiary shows that among 4 of its board members, who are appointed by shareholders, 3 appear to be Chinese. One of them is Ye Xiang, a Chinese national, who also served as a board member of the Beijing-based UBS. The person had worked at the Chinese regime's central bank, the state-owned Bank of China, as well as the Hong Kong government's financial regulatory agencies. UBS is the first foreign bank that's allowed to have a fully licensed security joint venture in China's very restricted financial market. The facilitator of the joint venture is Chinese Vice Premier Wang Qishan, who is deemed the most finance-savvy communist official. He was the mayor of Beijing in 2006 when he met with UBS's then-chairman Marcel Auspel. According to a Chinese company profiling website, after the 2020 election, the Beijing UBS went through a major leadership turnover on November the 30th. One day before Linwood's tweet about UBS, 12 out of its 15 board of directors quit, including Ye Xiang, the New York UBS board member mentioned earlier. Another who just quit the board is Cheng Yixun, the former CEO of UBS's Beijing-based joint venture and an expert hired in the Chinese Communist Party's 1,000 Talents program. The U.S. Senate deems the program a threat to U.S. national security. According to the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists, UBS is among the major Western banks that played a key role as middlemen in helping Chinese communist officials set up trusts and companies at offshore centers usually associated with hidden wealth. The SEC filing shows only 2 transactions related to Dominion's parent company. Both are from UBS's New York subsidiary. Other than the $400 million transaction in October, Dominion received $200 million from UBS in 2014. In a previous voter fraud lawsuit filed by Sidney Powell, a former military intelligence official claimed in an affidavit that Chinese operatives had access to Dominion voting system in several key states. Penny Zhou, NTD News.
Okay, so you see, it's too coincidental, especially since all of the strange things that happened in our election all favored Joe Biden. It makes sense. And the second article is about, it says digital forensic analysis shows that Dominion servers connected to Iran and China. This is the affidavit. A digital forensic analysis by a former military intelligence analyst whose name was redacted in an affidavit accompanying attorney Sidney Powell's lawsuit against Michigan officials claims to present unambiguous evidence that Dominion voter system servers were accessible to and were certainly compromised by rogue actors, such as Iran and China. Powell's complaint, filed on November 25th against Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer, Michigan Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson, and Michigan Board of State canvasser, cites the affidavit as authored by a former electronic intelligence analyst under the 305th Military Intelligence and purporting to show that the Dominion software was accessed by agents acting on behalf of China and Iran in order to monitor and manipulate elections, including the most recent U.S. general election in 2020. A separate complaint in Georgia expands on the assertion, claiming that by using servers and employees connected with rogue actors and hostile foreign influences, combined with numerous easily discoverable leaked credentials, Dominion neglectfully allowed foreign adversaries to access data and intentionally provide access to their infrastructure in order to monitor and manipulate elections, including the most recent one in 2020. The analyst, who claimed to have extensive experience as a white hat hacker used by some of the top election specialists in the world, said that they scanned Dominion's network nodes and found a number of interrelationships with foreign entities, including access to Dominion's server by a network from Hunan, China. Another forensic review confirmed links to an Iranian IP address. The analyst wrote and concluded that the totality of these scanning behaviors show that foreign agents of aggressor nations had accessed U.S. voting lists and had done so recently. The analyst said that the findings represent a complete failure on the part of Dominion to provide basic cybersecurity. This is not a technological issue, but rather a governance and basic security issue. If it is not corrected, future elections in the United States and beyond will not be secure and citizens will not have confidence in the results, the analyst concluded. Dominion has not responded to a query from the Epoch Times regarding the allegations, although the company issued a statement on Wednesday, the same day Powell filed the Michigan lawsuit with Dominion, saying there were unfounded allegations being made against the company and its voting systems in recent days. The company added that Dominion voting systems are designed to and certified by the U.S. government to be closed and do not rely on network connectivity. Dominion's tabulators also do not have exposed USB or other memory ports. It came after Powell alleged in her lawsuit hundreds of thousands of illegal, ineligible duplicate or purely fictitious ballots were enabled by massive election fraud. The suit claimed that election software and hardware from Dominion voting systems used by Michigan Board of State Canvasser helped facilitate the fraud. Dominion systems derive from the software designed by Smartmatic Corporation, which became Sequoia in the United States. The complaint reads, Dominion said that it has no financial or organizational ties to Smartmatic, although it said it purchased assets from a company formerly owned by Smartmatic. Both Dominion and Smartmatic have denied ties to foreign governments. Jack Phillips contributed to this report. Okay, so it's easy to see that there is ties to China now, and if this can be verified, because if you look at my other report that I just did, the Georgia officials, even though there was a court order, this is another story, that even though there was a court order, they were found that they were trying to destroy and get rid of not only the ballots inside the machines, but some trying to erase the machines and destroy the machines, or the evidence on the machines, which is crazy. And then they're trying to block them from being able to actually look in and verify that there was no fraudulent activity. They're trying to block them from being able to look at the machines, bring in outside experts to examine the machines to make sure there was nothing going wrong. And they're trying to block them, which is crazy. Why would you want to do that if there was nothing wrong? You would think that, and this isn't a personal, like I said, this is not a personal computer. This is no one's personal life. These are voting machines for the country, for public use, right? So it is at the utmost importance that we make sure that it was fair. That they should not be blocking it. They actually should be supporting us looking into it. But the thing is about these officials and a lot widespread, especially Democrat officials, but there are some Republicans too. Like a lot of them are Marxists, or they've sold out, like they've been bought out, and so they're doing it for money, and they've betrayed their country, which is it's crazy, but a lot of cases it's true, and I think that it'll be proven true too, especially if we get our hands on these machines. They already have some of them, and they're going to start looking into them, so we'll see what happens. Pray for the nation. And if this is the first time you're hearing anything about any of this, like, wake up. Like, especially if you voted for Joe Biden, like, the warning signs were all there. Even with the Ukrainian deal, that you guys tried to impeach Trump over. But he told him to look into Hunter Biden. Like, that Joe actually basically told Ukraine if they don't, because there was already an investigation going on before into Hunter Biden and his actions, and Joe actually stepped in and told the government if they didn't fire the guy in the government who was doing the investigation on them, that he wouldn't give them, or they wouldn't get the money from our government. So it is technically, not only did he bully interfere with the investigation, but he bribed the officials technically. So, and I'm gonna be doing a video on this. It'll probably come on after this one. So be on the lookout for that, and like and share. Just arm yourself with information. Even if it doesn't hurt to know. The other news channels aren't even looking. They're just telling you it didn't happen. But there's too much evidence here to say that it didn't. So, shalom, and Jehovah watch over you.